Entertainment Soldier here, and I am back to talk about Star Trek Strange New Worlds, Season 3, Episode 3, and my thoughts on this episode. I liked this episode. I think it's a really good episode. Are there problems? Yes. Mainly to do with a bad guy they use in the episode that's been overused too many times now in entertainment. I mean, as soon as I saw these bad guys, I cringed and my eyes rolled so far back into my head, I think I saw my brain. Listen, I think the writers did do a good job at explaining how these are not like the normal bad guys that are overused, but I will say this, seeing these bad guys in Star Trek, yeah, I could have done without it. But listen, I think the episode does a good job using them. And listen, they are background bad guys. They're not the main bad guy. But for the episode, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the story. I enjoyed the mission. I enjoyed the main bad guy in this episode. I mean, you've got to give massive credit to the writers of Strange New Worlds. They know how to use this bad guy. They write them better than what they did in Discovery. It is still funny how they are completely ignored. Listen, I'm just going to say it. I'm talking about the Klingons. The Klingons are in this episode. I know it's a bit of a spoiler. The Klingons are in this episode, and Strange New Worlds somehow knows how to write them better than Discovery. It is pretty fucking hilarious when you think about it. But what I found funny is in this episode, they are so determined never to mention the Klingons again. Like, you see dead Klingons at the start of the war that look like Klingons and not Klingons. It's just still like, they are never bringing them back, are they? They are going to make sure that they forget they ever existed. It is funny. But, yeah. That is a good part of the episode, how they use the Klingons in this episode. I enjoyed the bad guy, and I enjoyed the storyline behind her. I thought that was really interesting. One big plus in this episode, I do have to give credit to the writers for, is Ortiz. I think what they're doing with her is great. And the fact that they're not falling into the same trap as Discovery, which is just to have a bridge crew and barely use any of the characters on the bridge crew. Because I had a massive problem with that in Discovery. The fact they never used these characters. They just had them in the background. You never got to really know them. I mean, by the end of Discovery, I think I only knew about 2 of their fucking names. And I couldn't give a shit about knowing their fucking names. But with Star Trek Strange New Worlds, they are developing these characters. They are giving them their own storylines and letting you see more of them, which I completely enjoy. And the storyline between Ortiz and Una in this episode, I thought was great. I love how they're writing them. I love also how they're making the crew look more professional. Because at the end of this episode, you see a second officer actually having to do her duty and deal with Ortiz. And I thought that was great. Because you'd never see something like that in Discovery. Because they just act like they just make it look like a fucking joke. Or they make a joke at the situation. And it would have just been so fucking ridiculous. In this episode, they actually do what a Starfleet officer would do. Which, you gotta give them credit. Another plus of this episode, the Doctor and Pike. I love their storyline in this episode. And when Pike finds out the secret in this episode, I loved how he dealt with the situation. Credit to the actor. Listen, he might be a woke son of a bitch, but he can act. And I enjoyed the scene when he found out about it. And how angry he was about it. And you can understand why he's angry. And you can understand why the Doctor tried to keep it secret from him. Because, yeah, finding out that information is going to fuck someone up. It's like, you can't well, I can't go into spoilers, but you can understand where Pike's coming from, but you can also understand where the Doctor's coming from, which I thought was great. And again, the Doctor, he's a good actor himself. I enjoyed him throughout this episode. I got no problems with him. I loved how his story ended in this episode, and how him and the bad guy, well, I can't go into spoilers, but I love that situation as well. And the callback to a previous episode, I thought was great. I've got to give massive credit to the writers here. It was a good episode. And I will say this, it kind of felt like a Star Trek episode. It didn't have anything woke in it. It didn't have anything stupid. Well, not really stupid. I will say the background bad guys, I'm still kind of on the fence about. I still think that was a kind of stupid thing to put into Star Trek. But listen, other than that, the rest of this episode was great. I haven't mentioned Spock in this episode. Well, let's just say they made Spock take a backseat in this episode, and Christine as well, which I thought was like, yeah, that was a good thing. Yeah, I've kind of seen enough of them for a bit after last week's episode. Yeah, mainly like maybe like 5 episodes without them two and their stupid relationship. I would enjoy that. So what I give this episode as a whole, I think it's a good episode. I feel like I could rewatch this and still enjoy it for what it is. So I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. I think it's that good. It's a 7 out of 10. It's not as good as real Star Trek, but I will say it's close to it. It is pretty close to it. So let's get to spoilers now. If you don't want to hear spoilers, leave in 3, 2, 1. So the episode starts off with Pike giving his captain's log about how he's going to miss his girlfriend or fiance, whatever the fuck she is, when she heads off to take command of her new ship. And when he gets into the room and he starts talking about how he's going to miss her, decorating and shit, he finds his girlfriend on the floor unconscious. He calls for medical assistance. Then we head down to the infirmary, where he's informed that his girlfriend's Gorn disease is not gone. And it's starting to reassert itself. So it's going to probably kill his girlfriend unless they can get some sort of flower that only grows on a certain planet. Now, Spock has managed to find this, I was going to call it a magic flower. I didn't get the name, sorry. Spock has found this magic flower. Now, this magic flower is a rare flower that only grows in a certain place. And that certain place is a planet that is in this disputed territory between the Federation and the Klingon Empire. So, the Enterprise can't go there because they will break a shitload of rules and a shitload of treaties. But Spock and the Doctor have come up with a plan that will exclude the Federation from this if they take a shuttle there and head to the lab, because this planet used to be owned by the Federation, but in the war the Klingons attacked and they pretty much took it over, but apparently have abandoned it, but still say it's their planet. Basically, a lot of political shit happened and nobody owns the planet anymore. So anyway, there is a laboratory on the planet that the Federation used to control that are growing these magic flowers, and they need to head there and use that flower to slow down, or at least what they were telling Pike, stop the Gorn's disease from killing his girlfriend. So Pike agrees to the mission on one condition. He replaces Spock on the away mission, and the Doctor reluctantly agrees, but Pike's girlfriend pipes up and says she doesn't want anybody dying for her or breaking treaties that could plunge the Federation into another war with the Klingon Empire. But Pike says, listen, we'll be careful, we'll be in and out, and we'll get the flower and save your life. And so that's the plan. Anyway, where was I? So yeah, that's the plan. Get to the planet, get the flower, get out there before the Klingons find out. So they have a little meeting. Una is talking to the crew about what the plan is. Hyperspace in there, drop the shuttle, and as Ortega is a fantastic pilot, she can get them in close to the planet without the Klingons knowing, and get out as quick as she got in there. So yeah, great plan. Everybody agrees to the plan, but Una kind of starts acting up, and Lana tries to have a private conversation with Una about Ortiz and how La'an is starting to notice Ortiz is acting up more than usual, and she's kind of starting to see that there is a problem with Ortiz. Una kind of pushes this off as just says, listen, she's had a hard time with the Gorn. Let's just give her some space, and, if she needs help, we'll wait till she asks. Which I kind of think is a bit stupid. Like, La'an should have forced the issue. Probably said she needs to go to the med bay or something. Like, you are starting to notice something about Ortiz. It is pretty obvious that she has been seriously affected by the Gorn, or she's getting some sort of PTSD. Like, I think La'an should have forced the issue, in my opinion. I get why Una's not forcing it. Like, she's trying to be understanding. She doesn't want to take her off a post because that might do more damage to her, self-esteem, her mental health. I get that. But again, she is the pilot of the Enterprise. And if she is having problems, you are putting a shitload of people's lives at risk. And near the end of the episode, it is proven that you should have listened to La'an. So, food for thought. But anyway, so the Enterprise goes into warp. They get near the planet. They drop off the shuttle. Enterprise heads back. And then the landing party head to the planet. They land on the planet. And before they get to the science laboratory, they find a Klingon, a dead Klingon. And Pike asks, well, the Klingons did attack this planet whilst there were Federation officers on here. Did he get killed during the war? And the Doctor says, no, it looks like he was ripped apart by something. So, very, very odd. What could do that to a Klingon? Especially a Klingon who's a warrior, not just a civilian or something. So, yeah, food for thought. What was that about? But again, I do want to mention this. The fact that we're still not seeing any mention of the Klingons, especially when they say this battle that was on this planet happened at the beginning of the war. Like, really? Really? Would that Klingon have been there? Because I thought they were all a bunch of Klingons at this point. Again, I'm never going to get over the Klingon shit. Like, that was so fucking ridiculous. Okay, rant over. Listen. It's still stupid what that fucking shit was about. It's like, my God, how dumb were they? Anyway, so they head through the jungle. The Doctor does some scans. He starts to realise there's no life on this planet other than plant life, which is very odd for a planet that should have insects, animals roaming around. Like, the Federation didn't kill everyone on the planet, and it wouldn't really make sense for the Klingons to do it either. So what is going on this planet? What is killing everything living on this planet? So they head into the laboratory or the Federation base. It's pretty messed up. The Klingons did a really bang up job in destroying that place. So they go through looking for the flower. They finally find the flower. When Pike goes to touch it, the Doctor stops him and says he has to wear special gloves so he isn't infected by the plant. And this starts to concern Pike, because it's just like, this is the plant that you're going to be giving to his girlfriend, and you're starting to warn him now not to touch it. Like, is this flower dangerous? Again, you can understand why he's concerned. Like, this is a plant you're going to use to try to save his girlfriend. Maybe you should give him some more information about why this plant is so important. I know he did a whole thing about it, a whole speech like this can stop the Gorn virus. But, again, he is concerned. He's concerned about someone he loves. You can understand where he's coming from. But anyway, they grab the flower. But then we see the Klingons have arrived. Apparently they had a beacon up in space that warned them that somebody had gone on the planet, or at least that's what it's looking like from the start. So it's a Klingon battle cruiser. It drops off a Imperial shuttle or a Klingon shuttle, which looks really like a Virocopter, you know, from Doom. I really did notice that. So the Klingon shuttle comes down. Pike and the Doctor kind of think maybe they haven't noticed them, but then the Klingon shuttle comes round and blows up their shuttle, so they realise, holy shit, they got to find a way off this planet before the Klingons find them. Klingons land, enter the base, and again, Klingons talking Klingon. I enjoy those moments, you know, respect the lore and all that stuff. Great. Again, these writers know what they're writing when it comes to the Klingons. Finally. Bloody shocking how bad it's been for the Klingons with, you know, Kurtzman Trek. So, they go through the base. You find out that this particular level that Pike and the Doctor have run up to is a very dangerous level, apparently. So it looks like the Klingons have abandoned this planet for some reason. And they say, and the leader of this group says, get ready for death, because it's a dangerous part of the base. So Pike and the Doctor hide in some corner with some like weeds and shit. The Klingons then attack them, they shoot back, then they get captured by the Klingons, and before the Klingons can, you know, take them into custody, they're attacked by creatures. Now, these creatures are very, very similar to zombies. Yes, Star Trek now has a form of zombies in it now. And they eat one of the Klingons. The rest of the Klingons, which is just two of them, run off to get away from them. Pike and the Doctor do the same. They try to find an exit. They do. They run for it. And yeah, we just see a Klingon get devoured by all these zombies. Listen, I'm going to say it again. Zombies are the most used fucking bad guy in entertainment for the last 10 to 15 years. It's becoming so annoying to see zombies. Like, my God, can we find a different kind of bad guy? Listen, in the episode, I'll just go to the scene now. So the Doctor and Pike get to a safe area. The Doctor starts looking and scanning at stuff, you know, trying to figure out what the fuck these things are. Pike then starts, you know, saying these are obviously zombies, which the Doctor stops him and says, no, let's not use the Z word. These are not zombies. These are caused by the flower that we are taking to infect your girlfriend with. So this starts to worry Pike again. Because if this flower is so toxic that it's turned a bunch of Federation scientists and Klingon warriors into psychopathic zombies, what the fuck are you doing to my girlfriend? Now, the Doctor does his best to try to tell Pike, I can't tell you, Doctor confidentiality shit. Doctor patient confidentiality, I can't do it, but Pike starts to force the issue, and then he starts to connect the dots. Now, in a previous scene, there was a scene between Spock and Pike's girlfriend where Spock tries to relieve Pike's girlfriend of pain by using a mind meld to kind of douse the pain. And whilst he was in a mind meld with her, he starts to feel something from her. And it turns out that she is really infected by the Gorn, that apparently she's now seeing through Gorn eyes, or she's kind of feeling more like a Gorn. So this scares the shit out of Spock, who flings a fucking medical officer, like, throws one across the room, and Christine's got to slap him out of it because he's starting to go insane. And this really does panic Spock, and he kind of realises he's lost control and heads back to the bridge. You then get But then we go back to the scene with Pike and the Doctor, where the Doctor has to tell Pike what's going on. And he tells him, well, actually, Pike figures it out. Because as this flower has somehow infected the Federation and Klingon officers, it's fucked up their genes or connected their genes in some way. And Pike simply uses information to realise the Doctor isn't going to get rid of the Gorn DNA. He's going to connect the Gorn and human DNA. So he's going to make her a hybrid because he can't get rid of the disease. Because she hasn't got long anyway, so this is the only way for them to save her. Now, Pike is pretty upset with this because, holy shit, you're going to make my girlfriend a Gorn, basically. And he doesn't know how to feel about that. Again, if the Doctor doesn't do this, she's going to die, but again, she is going to be part Gorn. And who the fuck knows what's going to happen with that? So, you know, they both kind of realise there's not really much they can do right now. They have just got to get the flower back to the Enterprise to save his girlfriend. They're then attacked by zombies. They use one of their phases as a grenade and they throw at the zombies, which knocks them on the floor for a bit. They then run into some cupboards whilst the zombies are trying to rip it open. The Klingons come in, shoot a bunch of them, pull them out of the drawers. I mean the cabinet, whatever the fuck it is. And then the Klingon leader takes them prisoner. They're then attacked by more zombies where the last of this Klingon woman's guards are killed. And she then kills him and the zombie and then tells Pike and the Doctor to walk in front of her. They get up to the rooftop and she tries to call in a shuttle. And then they are again attacked by more zombies where Pike realises that there's a force field generator thing. They head there, they turn it on, the force field comes up, the zombies then surround them and start hitting the force field, where Pike tries to negotiate with this Klingon about trying to find a way off the planet together so they're not eaten by zombies. And then the Klingon woman stabs Pike and then reveals that she is not just any Klingon, her name is Bela, the daughter of Raul, Ambassador Raul, I think his name was, of the Klingon Empire. Now, if you remember, the Doctor and Raul and the Doctor were enemies, and it was revealed that Raul did a lot of war crimes, and the Doctor assassinated him to get revenge for the war crimes. Now, if you remember, he did lie to Pike about what happened. So Pike doesn't know what the fuck's going on here and who Bela is and what the fuck the problem is, basically. So she wants revenge for the death of her father. Now he thinks it's some sort of like blood oath, like you kill my father, I kill you, honour is restored. But it turns out Bela, or Bafra, whatever the fuck her name is, she doesn't give a shit about her father. She is glad he's dead. The problem is the Doctor killed him first. And honour to her family can't be restored because he killed her. He killed him first. So she has to kill him to bring honour back to her family. Again, it is Klingon politics. That's what you pretty much expect from a Klingon, especially if they want to get honour. So she says them two need to have a fight to the death so that she can restore honour. She also explains how her family has been pretty much destroyed by Raul's fucking betrayal to the Federation and how the war crimes also fucked up her family, and she's had to beg for the Klingon Empire to give her the battle cruiser and the crew. So she needs to do this because her life's going to be shit if she doesn't. Now, the Doctor doesn't want to do this because he's a doctor, not a killer. And Pike tries to defend him and say he didn't kill Raul. He died because of certain conditions, blah, 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 blah. But then the Doctor reveals, yes, I assassinated him. Yes, I enjoyed it. And yes, if I could do it again, I would. Again, if you remember the episode, it was one of the good episodes from season 2. It was a bit over the top with the whole, drugs turning him into a super soldier thing. I'll skip over that. But one thing I did like about this scene, I did like the fact you could see that Pike kind of sees what's happening to the Doctor. You can see the anger, that the bloodlust in his eyes as well. It's like this isn't the Doctor he usually sees, but he also sees the compassion as well. Like, I really did enjoy the scene between them both, which again, credit to the writers and credit to the actors. That was a great scene. So again, the Doctor's trying not to let the beast come out again. He doesn't want to be this warrior who can kill a shitload of Klingons just with his bare hands. But Bela or Bafra is forcing the issue. Like, she doesn't give a shit about the zombies surrounding the place. She wants blood. She wants to restore honor to her family. So she forces the issue. The Doctor reluctantly agrees. She gives him a knife, and she grabs the knife too. They have a little fight with each other. I will say the fight was kind of shit. I'm sorry. Listen. The actor who plays the Doctor, he did the fight scene in Dune 1, which was fucking better. So I would have liked to have seen a bit more, especially from Bafra. You're a Klingon warrior. Come on, love. Let's start doing a bit more better moves than just throwing around the dagger. It just seemed a bit shit. Whilst this is going on, Una has realised that Pike hasn't contacted the Enterprise in a while, so she decides to go on a rescue mission to kind of figure out what the fuck is going on. They head into the sector, but again, there is a Klingon cruiser there, and they don't want to start a war with the Klingon Empire, so she tells Ortiz that need to go in slowly and with most of the power to the ship getting turned off so they won't be detected by the Klingon warship. So they go in slowly. Ortiz does amazing flying, apparently, around all the asteroids around the planet. So they head in very slow, but then they start to realise the Klingon warship is starting to detect something. So Una orders Ortiz to slow the ship down even more to stop the Klingons finding the signal. Una then decides to argue with... Not Una. Ortiz starts to argue with Una about the plan, because she thinks they need to warp straight into the planet, or at least the atmosphere of the planet, and then fly down and grab the Doctor and Captain Pike and get them off the planet that way. She starts to tell Una about the fact the Klingons are not going to take prisoners, are going to kill them if we don't get there in time. But Una says, no, we can't do that because the Klingons would detect us, and then it would be a shooting match between the Enterprise and this Klingon warship, which Una is trying to avoid. But Ortiz decides to... Well, she decides not to do as she's told and secretly pushes the engines just enough to let the Klingons know they're there. Una does see this but doesn't mention this. Realises the plan is fucked. They're not going to get to the planet secretly, so Una reluctantly agrees to do Ortiz's plan. So they warp into the planet's atmosphere. They fly down, and again, it was a nice scene. I love the CGI of the Enterprise flying through the atmosphere down to help Pike and the Doctor. Whilst the Enterprise is doing this, the fight between Bafra and the Doctor ends with the Doctor winning the fight, but at the same time forfeiting the fight. Because he realises the only way he can win the fight is killing Bafra, but he doesn't want to do that, so he drops his knife, untangles the thing that was keeping them together. I don't know what it was called. It's some sort of blood fucking belt thing. I don't know. Apparently you need to get someone's blood on it to be a victory, but he didn't want to do that. He forfeits, grabs Pike, And she demands honor, she demands a death so that she can get to Sto-vo-kor. But Doctor's not going to give her death. So, yeah, she's pretty pissed. But then she decides to go in an honourable way by saving the Doctor and Pike, by allowing them to get to the shuttle that she called in. And she can sacrifice herself by distracting the zombies to attack her and to let them go. She grabs her phaser, blasts a couple of shots in the air, grabs a Klingon whip, and then when the force field is getting weaker and starts opening, Pike kills one zombie and the Doctor kills a bunch of them. They head over to the shuttle, and you then see Bafra fighting off a shitload of zombies, killing as many as she can, but eventually the zombies overpower her, start eating her. Pike asks why she did this, and the Doctor tells Pike it was an honourable death, sacrificing yourself for your enemy. Or sacrificing yourself for other people is a very honourable death and a way for her to get to Sto-vo-kor. But then the Enterprise comes in and beams them up. So it was kind of, I will say this. She didn't really need to die, technically, because the Enterprise could have saved her. But again, you can understand why she did it, because again, Klingon honour and shit. So the Enterprise comes in, grabs them, gets out of there. The Klingons do fire a shot at them, but they are able to warp out of there just in time. The final scene is Pike talking with the Doctor about the assassination of Raoul and why he lied to him, and the Doctor's kind of worried, is Pike going to tell the Federation about this? Again, what he did was murder, and it is against Federation law, but Pike says, don't worry about it, this was an unsanctioned mission, so we'll just both keep quiet about this, because we both broke a lot of rules today, let's just concentrate on the future. We then go to Pike talking with his girlfriend and asking if she's okay, and he does reveal that he knows what the plan is, because it was also revealed to him that she's the one that told the Doctor not to tell Pike what the plan was. But Pike accepts it because Pike doesn't want to lose her, and basically they're both going to have to get ready for what's to come, and if they can, mould Gorn and human DNA together to save her life. And the last scene, which I do think is not the best scene, but one of the best scenes in the episode, Una calls in Ortiz and tells Ortiz she knows what she did. And basically, if you remember, Ortiz put the ship's speed up enough for the Klingons to detect them because she thought her plan was better. And Una calls her out for it. Tells her that you should have respected my command, and what you did was reckless and put the entire crew at risk. And Una puts her on disciplinary, takes her off the register or the rotation for a couple of days as punishment. And Una tells Ortiz she did not expect this of her, not to put the lives of the crew at risk in such a dangerous way, to nearly bring the Federation to the point of a war again. And I just love the fact this scene, again, it's an officer acting like an officer. Yes, they are friends, but when it comes to command, she needs to do as she is fucking told. And you can see Ortiz isn't taking this well. She understands what she did was wrong, but something is up with her. She is definitely dealing with PTSD from the Gorn, and she just doesn't know how to deal with it. And I hope we are going to just get an episode just with her dealing with this, because that would be a great episode. So Una tells her that she needs time off. She needs to get help and sort herself out. Ortiz nods and says she understands, but you can kind of see she is going to probably just not do anything right now about it. And yeah, I think what's to come for her is a lot of bad days of her trying to deal with her PTSD. But again, great scene, Great to see that Starfleet officers acting like Starfleet officers. And that's how the episode ends. This episode was good. Is it the best Star Trek Strange New Worlds episode I've ever seen? No, but I think it's one of them. I think it's a good episode. The writing's good. The CGI was great, especially the one with the atmosphere. And yeah, not a lot of problems. Again, the zombies, over the top used. I don't think I would have done them. I would have just said some sort of creature, maybe some sort of like special animal that the Federation was kind of making. I don't know. Just zombies kinds of feels a bit stupid, in my opinion. But as a whole, a good episode, a 7 out of 10, and I can't wait for next week's episode. And that's the end of my review. If you like the review, give it a like. If you dislike the review, give it a dislike. And if you like my content, do think about subscribing. And if you have a comment, leave it below, and I'll try to get back to it. Entertainment Soldier, bye.